Dear students, today we will be learning about estimation of steel truss. This is the given question. Prepare a detailed estimate of the steel truss shown in the figure for the workshop building. Effective span of the truss is 11 meter. Trusses are placed at 3.5 meter center to center. Ends of the building are gable ends. All the steel work shall be painted with 2 coats of painting. Weight per meter run of ISA angles are given. All the ISA angle. These are the angles of different dimensions. Their corresponding weight steel work in roof truss, including erecting, fixing roof truss in position at the rate of 75 per kgs. The thing is, you have to just calculate the weight of the steel required for the given truss. Next is painting area. A painting required for the steel truss. 2 coats of painting area you have to give. You have to just give the area of the painting for the steel required. Next, third item of work is you have to give the area of iron sheet, galvanized iron sheet roofing. It is covered with galvanized iron sheet. You have to give the area of the steel. Give the area of the iron sheets at the rate of rupees 380 per square meter. These two second and third items you have to give the areas. Now let us see the given roof truss. Before that, they have given the plan of the workshop building. This is the plan of the workshop building. Its dimension is 11 meter by 21 meter from center to center point. You can see these two ends are of, it may be of any masonry work. At these two places, you don't have the trusses. These two are of gable ends. They have mentioned ends of the building are gable ends. What is gable end? I'll show you here. See, if you have a sloped roof like this, these ends of the roof, in case of sloped roof, the ends of the roof, these walls are called as gable ends. This place, these two ends are gable ends. In the same way, here you have the walls with gable end. And in between, these dotted lines are trusses. Here one set of truss, another set, like this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set of truss in this building at the distance of about 3.5 meters. All these dimensions are in meters. And these are of RCC column. They have not given any details of this RCC column, and also in the question also they have not asked any calculation, so need not have to worry about it. And let us see the truss in detail. This is the given truss. They have given half of the truss. You know that the truss will be of symmetrical shape. Whatever the details you are seeing here, the same thing will be replicated on the other side. This is the diagram of one single truss. Like this, in this building, there will be 5 set of truss. Whatever the truss is there, that will be here. The same thing will be 5 times. 5 sets will be there. So you have to calculate for 5 sets of truss. Since all the trusses, not since, most of the time, all the trusses will be of same dimensions, same elements, like that. So if you calculate for only one truss, and then if you multiply it with 5 times, then you will get the quantity of 5 trusses. And another thing is, if you, whatever you are seeing here, the same thing will be replicated on the other side. I have said earlier. Now, you can see the parts of the trusses. This part will be called as rafter. In a truss, these inclined members are called as rafters. I'll show you here. See, in this truss, these members are rafters. These members are called as rafters. In this diagram, this is a rafter, and above that you can see there is the arrow mark saying GI sheet. Above this rafter, this double line, first double line is rafter and second double line is galvanized iron sheet, and in between them you can see these marks. These are purlins and cleat angle. These are of purlins and cleat angle. You can see the detail here. Whatever the small thing you are seeing, that they have written purlin ISA. Actually, it was in the textbook. It was 2 ISA, but it is wrong. It is 1 ISA. Purlin of 1 ISA, 60 by 75 by 6. Sorry, it is not 60. It is 100 by 75 by 6. Students, the dimensions are not clear here, but I have sent the notes. You can weave through the dimensions for that. And you can see this is zoomed in. Here you can see the purlin, and here it is of cleat angle, and between that you have a hook bolt to fix the GI sheet. On this GI sheet will be fixed. On the GI sheet they will make a hole. You might have seen it. It is fixed into it, and then it is bolted. It is locked with the help of this hook bolt. Like this, all the joints will be. You have to calculate the purlins also, and you have to calculate for the cleat angles also. I will show you how the purlins will be. See, these are purlins. These are purlins, but in the diagram they have shown at this point. They have taken the section at this point. So at this point, if you see here, the purlins will look like only like this. You can see the arrow mark. The purlin at this point, it will be seen like this. But if you view it, the purlins will run throughout, from end to end, from one gable end to another gable end. The purlins will run like this, from this end to this end, for a length of about 21 meters. These purlins will run. See, how many purlins are there in one set? Let us count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in half of the truss, and this in a similar fashion on the other side will also be there. So totally 10 purlins will be there in one truss. These are the purlins. And you can see the struts here. Strut 1, strut 2, strut 3 with the corresponding lengths they have mentioned. What is a strut? Strut is a compression member in the truss. The load which is coming from the coming on the truss will be either tension or compression. The compression load will be taken by the strut, and tension will be taken by the tie beams. Here you can see tie 1, tie 2, tie 3, 4, 5 along with the corresponding length they have given. If you analyze the truss either with the method of sections or joints, you might have remembered, you will, at the end of solving the problem, you will get to know which is a tension member and which is the compression member. In the same way, this truss is already analyzed and recognized which is a tension member and which is a compression member. The compression members are named as struts, and tension members are named as tie beam. And in between you can see the suspender. In a truss there will be only one suspender, and remember, here in the half of the truss there is only one strut 1 and one strut 2, one strut 3. And similarly, tie 1, tie 2, tie 3, and up to tie 5, all these are only one members in half truss. But if you take one whole truss, there will be two numbers. So while calculating, you should be careful. Strut 1 will be two numbers, strut 2 will be two numbers, strut 3 will be two numbers. Like that, you have to keep calculating. And one more thing is, uh, all the members are constructed using the angles which is given here, which is mentioned here itself. You can refer the notes for the clear dimensions. The best possible picture I have taken, but then also the image is not clear with this. Ties, okay. Few this strut 1, struts, all the struts are not given with this ISAs. That means the angles which is used, and few ties also it is not given. For that, they said in the diagram itself, they have given this note. All strut and tie members are of ISA 65 by 65 by 6 mm unless otherwise shown. That means if they are specified with the given angles, you have to consider the given detail. If it is not specified, then you have to name that number with this. You have to assume that it is made of this angle, ISA 65 by 65 by 6. I think you know how the angles will be. I'll show it again. These are angles. All the members of this particular truss which is given in our problem are of like this members. The members will be of this shape. And also you can see here they have given with gusset plate. You can see here gusset plate. These are the gusset plates which is used at the joints to connect all the members. They also named as A, B, C, D. All these namings A, B, C, D or alphabets are gusset plates with specific dimensions. See, this A gusset plate is of 0.6 by 0.4 and B is of 0.25 by 0.2. You have to see carefully. And C member is of 0.7 by 0.25, D is of 0.25 by 0.2, and similarly all are given. I'll show you how the gusset plate will be. This is a gusset plate. You can see this is of different shape. This is of trapezoidal shape, but in our diagram it is of different shapes. Usually the gusset plate will be like this only. But you can see that the gusset plate dimensions are given with only two dimensions, just like a rectangle. But in actual, the gusset plate is of different shape other than rectangle. Then also you have to do the take the area of the gusset plate like rectangle only. Why? Because this gusset plate is of different shapes. In the manufacturing process itself, you want to get the required shape of the gusset plate. It will be built at the site. It will be all the modifications will be done at the site, and many wastages will be there from the plates. But it will be purchased just like a rectangles. So excluding that wastage, including that wastages, and you have to in your calculation you have to include such wastages also. So instead of doing all those wastages separately and doing it again in all the calculations in all the textbooks, and we will usually do the calculations like considering them as rectangle. So these are the gusset plates, and you can see the bolts also here. uh, this bolts you can't weigh each and every bolt and say. So we will be taking the bolt in some percentage of total steel required for the construction of the work. And also another important thing is of cleat angle. I'll show you what is cleat angle. Cleat angle are the members which is used for the connecting two members. The cleat angles will be used. This will be like this. This is a cleat angle, and I'll show you where it is used. See, angle cleat. From the front view, you can see the angle like this. This is a cleat angle. This will be used for the at the base plate what is base plate is, it is used at the supports, wall plate or base plate. These base plates will be at this point. There will be two base plates for a truss. For a single truss, there will be two base plate. Here you can see this is a base plate. Thick line which is seen here is of base plate of dimension 0.3 by 0.3 by 0.15. Similarly, another base plate will be on the other end. In one truss, there will be two base plates. This is of square shape. This may be of rectangle also, but in this case, it is of square 0.3 by 0.3 and it is of thickness 0.15. And here you can see they have given ISA 80 by 80 by 8. This is a cleat angle which is used to connect the base plate with this gusset plate. This is a cleat angle. So the cleat angle will be two numbers for the base plate, and the cleat angle will be here also, one at the purlins. To connect the purlin and the rafter, this cleat angles will be used. At each joint there will be one cleat angle. So now I'll show you here. See, this is a cleat angle. It will be used like this to connect. This is a principal rafter. This is a rafter inclined member, that is this is a rafter, and the purlins will run perpendicular to it. To connect these two and with the hook, this cleat angle will be used like this. In the diagram I'll show you. This is a rafter and this is a purlin. At this point, cleat angle will be used. See, how many cleat angle in a single truss means it depends on how many purlins runs. See here you can see up to here. At this point there will be one angle, 1, 2, 3, 4 and something. How many runs? It depends on the cleat angle. In our diagram it is 5 on one side and 5 on the other side. There will be 10 in one truss, 10 cleat angle in one truss. How to calculate the length and all I will show you in detail in the calculation part. So this is about the parts of the trusses. This should be very clear before we start the estimation. I hope you are up to the point before we start the calculation of the steel truss. Now let us start with the calculation part. One thing you remember is you have three things to calculate. One is weight of the steel to construct the whole workshop, and second thing is the painting area, and the third one is galvanized iron sheet. These three quantities you have to work out. First, let us start with quantity of the steel. You have to do the calculations separately for all the parts which is used in the truss. Rafter, struts, tie members, suspender, base plate, cleat angle, purlins, etc. Let us start with principal rafter. You can see in the diagram, for everything you have to refer the diagram. So I prefer keep separate notes which I have sent and then you compare with the calculations. Whatever I have written the calculations here, you have to keep comparing with the diagrams, with the truss given. First I'll start with principal rafter. In the diagram it is given. This is a principal rafter. And here you can see the principal rafter is of 2 ISA 80 by 80 by 8 mm. So I have written the same thing, 2 ISA 80 by 80 by 8 mm. It is of 4 number. Why 4 number means 2 ISA means 2 angles will be used in the connection on each side. That means in one side itself, 2 angles are connected back to back. So here 2 angles and this side 2 angles. So totally the number of principal rafter used will be 4 in single truss. I'll show you how it is calculated, how it is connected. Before that, let us complete this. Length of that each rafter will be of 7.5 meter. How 7.5? Here they have given the length of the principal rafter is 7.5 meter length. No need of breadth here. You have to take only length. So 4 into 75, if you multiply, you will get 30 meter. So total length of principal rafter used in one truss. Remember, we are doing the calculation for only one truss, and at the end we are going to multiply the whole truss detail. And here you have this table. You can observe the table of the detailed estimation is different here. Serial number, particulars, number, length, breadth, no depth, quantity. Quantity is the multiplication of number, length, breadth, and unit. This is optional column. If you want, you can write, otherwise this column can be skipped. Weight per meter and total weight of steel in kgs, and the remarks column. Weight per meter is very important. This should be given in the question. This is given in the question. You can see there are the weight per meter is given here. Our principal rafter is of this size, 80 by 80 by 80 by 8 mm. That is 9.6 kg per meter. So I have written 9.6. All these values will be in kg per meter. Here total weight of steel in kgs. If you have to multiply this quantity with weight per meter, you will get this column. Multiply these two, you will get the total weight of steel in kgs. Struts. You have 3 struts in the diagram. You can watch it. Strut 1, 2, 3. As I said, there will be 2 strut 1, 2 strut 2, and 2 strut 3. So the numbers will be 2, 2, 2, 2 for everything. And in the diagram, you can observe for the truss, they have not mentioned which angle it is used. So since it is given, all strut and tie members, if it is not mentioned, you have to take 65 by 65 by 6. In the calculation, I have taken all these, and all these are 2 numbers, and corresponding lengths are given in the diagram. See, strut 1 is of 0.55, strut 2 is 1.8, strut 3 is 0.9 something. So the corresponding lengths I have taken. And to get the quantity, there will be no breadth. You can observe here, there is no breadth. You should not take the breadth. Multiply this number and length, you will get this column. And weight per meter is given in the question. For 65 by 65 by 6, it is 5.8 kg per meter. I have taken the same thing. Then similarly, you multiply these two columns, you will get the total weight of steel in corresponding kgs. Now, tie members. This also, all the detail you have to take from the given detail. Tie 1 and 2, they have mentioned 2 ISA. These dimensions they have mentioned, you can observe. Tie 1, they have given 2 ISA of this dimension and 2 ISA of this detail. And tie 3, 4, and 5, they have not given the angle detail. So you have to take 65 by 65 by 6. But for all the ties, they have mentioned the lengths. Whatever the lengths they have mentioned, I have taken here. And these details are taken from the data. And coming to this numbers, as I explained earlier, wherever you see 2 ISA, you have to multiply the numbers with 2. Actually, the tie 1 is only 1. In the diagram, there is only one tie 1, one tie 2, tie 3, and tie 4. But for another half, it will be 2 numbers. Actually, everything should be 2. Since these two are 2 ISA, 2 angles will be connected back to back to have one beam. So these numbers will be 4. Wherever you find 2 ISA, remember you have to multiply with the 2 with the number. So this column had came, and the corresponding lengths you can check with the diagram. The same length I have taken. Similarly, you multiply these 2 columns to get the quantity. And these weights are taken from the question. For 80 by 80 by 6, it is 7.3. The same thing I have taken. For 65, it is 5.8. I have taken the same thing. Since type 3, 4, 5 is not mentioned, I have taken 65 by 65 by 6. And multiply these two columns to get the total weight in kgs. This you will get. And coming to the suspender, next part is central suspender, and this detail is also taken from the data. They have given 50 50 by 6, and length is also given here. Same thing I have taken for the calculation. Length, and remember it is only one number, no two numbers. It will be at the center only one number for single truss. So one number, its corresponding length is taken. So if you multiply, you will get 2.6 only. And weight per kg also is taken. This 4.5 you can observe 50 by 50 by 6. In the question they have given 4.5 kgs. So I have taken 4.5, multiply these two to get the weight in steel. Coming to the cleat angle, as I said, the cleat angle will be in two places. One is at the base plate and another is at the purlins. At the base plate, the cleat angle will be here. So what will be the length of the cleat angle? It will be same as base plate. What is the length of the base plate? It is 0.3. So the length of the cleat angle at the base plate will be 0.3. And for one truss, there will be two cleat angles since two base plates. Here one base plate, for the corresponding cleat angle will be here one number, and similarly on the either side. So it on the other side. So the number will be 2 and length will be 0.3. If you multiply, you will get this. And this is same as for 65 by 65 by 6. It is given in the question. It is 5.8 kg per meter. So if you multiply these two, you will get this one. For the purlins, as I said earlier, how many joints will be there? That much cleat angles will be there. How many joints are there? On one side it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On either side also 5 numbers, 5 joints. So in total there will be 10 joints, and correspondingly there will be 10 cleat angles like this at each point. 10 cleat angles is okay. Now what is the length of the cleat angle? How to calculate it? I will show. See, this is how the joint will be. This is a rafter. Since the rafter is made of 2 ISA, this is one ISA and this is another ISA angle. These two are connected with the gusset plate in between them. Perpendicular to this rafter, the purlins will run. This cleat angle is used to connect the rafter and the purlin with the help of the gusset plate and the cleat angle. The cleat angle will be like this at each joint. You can see the cleat angles will be at this point. This is if you take one truss, if you consider this truss, the cleat angle will be at these joints. This is our truss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joints and 5 cleat angle. You have to find the length of the cleat angle. It will be like this. This is the rafter which you run. Whatever the width of the rafter is there, that will be the length of the cleat angle. The two rafters will be jointed like this. So how to calculate the cleat angle length? 80. The rafter used is 80 by 80 by 8 mm thickness. Ignore the thickness. Here it is 80, one angle, another angle is of 80, and in between gusset plate used is 8 mm thick. So total length of cleat angle becomes 80 plus 8 plus 80. In total, the length of one cleat angle will be 168 mm or 0.168 meter. that the angle which is used to make the plate angle is not given. Since in the question they said, once again I'll check for the plate angle. Since you have to take the cleat angle as 65 by 65 by 6, since it is not mentioned. So it comes to around 1.168 meter length. For the purlins, it is 10 numbers. So altogether, if you multiply these two, you will get 1.68. Since it is 65 by 65 by 6, we have taken 5.8 kg per meter. If you multiply these two, you will get this one in kgs. Total steel used in kgs. No need to make the total for each and everything. At the end, we can make the total. Now, next thing is gusset plate. Gusset plate, as I have shown, I'll show it again. This is the gusset plate. We have to find the total area of the gusset plates used in a single truss. You can see from the diagram, for the single truss, this is only half portion. For one truss, there will be 2A gusset plate, 2B gusset plate, 2C, D, E will be this. You can see this is E, F, G, H, and this is I. This will be I. So correspondingly, I have written everything here and their numbers. You can observe E and F are only 1. See, E and F are at the center. So it will be only one number which is shared between the, which is shared for both the parts. And its corresponding dimension, it is given. For A, it is 0.6 by 0.4. For B, it is 0.25 by 0.2. Likewise, if you observe the diagram, you will get these details for each and every gusset plate. This is the total area of the gusset plate. Number, length, and breadth. Here you have to see there is a breadth column filled. So gusset plate, you have to take the area. All the above things are taken only in meters. This gusset plate should be taken in meter square. Since it is a plate, you have to give the area. And you have to observe it is of 8 mm thick. This is not given in the question. It is assumed as 8 mm thick. You can even take for 6 mm also if it is not specified in the question. I have taken 8 mm. So multiply these three columns, you will get the corresponding areas required for the gusset plates. And here you have to take the total area of the gusset plate. You have to observe it is in meters square. Before it was in meters. Now to this gusset plate weight per meter or per meter square will not be given in the question. You have to calculate using the density of the steel. You know that density of the steel is 7850 kg per meter. Sorry, kg per meter cube. You know the thickness of the gusset plate is 8 mm. Convert it into meters, that comes to 0.008. If you multiply these two, you will get the weight in kg per meter square. Our detail is also in meter square. If you multiply these two, you will get the weight of the steel in kgs. So I have done that. I got 130.31 kgs. Now this weight is in kg. Similarly, base plate of 15 centimeter thick. It is, sorry, 15 mm thick. It is given in the question. It is not assumed. See, you can observe base plate is of 0.3 by 0.3 by 0.15. 0.15 is the thickness of the base plate. So it comes to okay. Base plate will be of two numbers. I will explain it again. In one truss, there will be two base plates. So two number, its dimension is 0.3 by 0.3. So it will be of 0.18 meter square. In a similar way, you have to convert it into kg per meter square. Both the thickness are different. So density of the steel is 7850 kg per meter cube. So multiplied by thickness of 15 mm will give you the weight in kg per meter square. If you multiply these two, you will get in kgs. So now you have to add everything. Now everything is done except bolts and purlin. Except bolts and purlin, we have done the calculation for everything. Now keep on adding the above thing till here. Whatever the detail you have got above in this column, keep adding. So you will get the total quantity of steel for one truss excluding bolts and purlins. At this stage, you have to do the total. Till this point, you don't do any totaling. Now, you have to calculate for bolt in truss, purlins and cleats considering 5% of the total. This is particularly the calculation of bolts used in the truss. You have to take the 5% of the total. Remember this is also the calculation for only one truss. So in one truss, this is the weight of the steel used. Out of this, 5% you have to consider. If you take the 5% of this total, you will get 36.47 kg. Now again do the total for only these two, 729.409 plus 36.47. You have to add these two, you will get 765.879. This is the total quantity of steel required for one truss excluding purlin but including the bolts. Now this is the total quantity of, this is for one truss excluding purlin. This is for one truss. Now we have 5 trusses. So you multiply this value with the 5. You will get 3829.39 kgs. This is the weight of the steel excluding purlin. Now we have to do the calculation for purlin. Why we have excluded here means, see, you can't calculate the weight of the purlin for single truss. For single truss, you will get only purlin up to small distance. This should not be this can't be calculated. And also this was not proper calculations. You will lose the length and all. You have to do the calculation of the purlin for whole truss, because the purlins runs from one end to the other end throughout at a stretch. So you have to do the calculation like this. After doing calculations like this up to all the 5 trusses, at the end you have to do the calculation for the purlin. Purlin is of this ISA 100 by 75 by 6. This pass through all the 5 trusses till the gable end, from one end of the gable end to the other end. We have 10 purlins in each truss. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in one side. On the other side, it will be another 5. So it will be 10 purlins in one truss, and its length is 21. Here you can see the purlins runs to a distance like this. Here the purlin runs. So the length of the purlin will be 21 meters. So it will be 21. If you multiply these two, you will get 210. For this 100 by 75 by 6, it is given 8 in the question they have mentioned. For 100 by 75 by 6, it is 8 kg per meter. So 8 is taken. If you multiply these two, you will get this 1680. Now the quantity of steel is completed. Now the total quantity of steel required for the whole workshop building is the sum of this 3829.39 and 1680. This includes everything. So this is the total weight of the steel required. 5509.39 kgs is the total steel required for the construction of the workshop building. Now only one quantity is completed. Coming to the second part, that is the painting part. They have mentioned painting for 2 coats over 1 coat of priming steel work. Whatever they might have given, don't worry about it. Just calculate the painting area. In a similar way, we have to do the calculation for one truss and then you have to multiply it later. Similarly, like purlins will be done at the end. So we'll start with the principal rafter. We have 4 numbers and its length is 7.5. I won't explain this because I've explained this earlier, how this number and length had come, same thing. I'll explain this width. This coming to the breadth, you have to take the perimeter of the angle. See, this whole thing should be painted on both the sides. For one angle, you have to take 2 sides. So the total perimeter is, if this is of length 80 by 80, then the length of the perimeter of painting will be 80 plus 80 2 times. See, 80 plus 80 2 times, because we have to do the painting on both the sides. So it comes to 320 mm. You might be thinking the principal rafter is of 80 by 80 by 8. That 8 thickness is neglected. It should be, the thickness of the angle should be ignored since it is very, very small. It should be ignored. You have to take only the faces. And multiply this length and breadth, you will get the total area. Including this 4, multiply all these 3, you will get the total area of painting. Similarly, the struts, you know the dimensions of this 65 by 65 by something 6 thickness. Ignore the thickness since it is 2 sides, multiply it with 2, 65 by 65 by 6. Don't get confused that multiply by 2 is because of this painting 2 coats. It is because of 2 faces we are multiplying here with the 2. We need to just give the area of the painting. Similarly, you have to work out for the tie members also by looking at the numbers and the dimensions. This length you can copy it from the steel quantity. Length you can take it from there. Breadth, depending on the dimension of the members, you have to calculate the perimeter. Similarly, for the central suspender, one number, this length is given, and this, to get this B value, you have to calculate the perimeter and you will get this area. Similarly, for the cleat angle, base plate and purlin, you can take it from the above table. These lengths and numbers you can copy it from the above table. And this breadth you have to work out. Since these tie members and this cleat angle are of same ISA 65 by 65 by 6, you can take the B values from here. So you will get the areas also. Similarly, for the gusset plate, you can see that the numbers are this. All the numbers are here. All these things is multiplied with the 2. You have to observe this because of 2 sides you have to paint. The gusset plate should be painted 2 faces. All the numbers are taken from the above table and all these numbers are multiplied with the 2 because of 2 faces. Here I have mentioned both faces. And these dimensions are taken from the diagrams or from the above steel quantity table. So if you multiply these 3 columns, you will get these areas. Base plate also, 1 multiplied with 2. So you will get 0.18 meter square. So for one truss, it will be, if you add everything, here no weight, nothing. Directly you have to add everything in this column from the painting table. You will get 26.49 meters square. This is for one truss excluding purlin. And for the 5 truss painting, it comes to 132.45. If you multiply this number with the 5, Now you have to work out for the purlin. There will be 10 numbers and length is 21.3. And its perimeter is taken like this in a similar way, so that you will get the area of the purlin. Add these two, painting for 5 truss and including this purlin. These two, if you add 132.45 and 74.55, you will get 207 meters square. This is the total area of the painting. So second item of work is done. Third item of work is you have to give the area of the galvanized iron sheet roofing. You have two sheets. You can observe this is one sheet and on the other side two sheets. So the number should be 2. Length is 21.3. How? I will show. The roofing will be from end to end, one end to the other end. You can observe this 21 is taken from this is 21 is taken from center to center, but the sheet will cover up to the gable end. The here 0.3 and here 0.3. Assuming the thickness of this wall should be 0.3. It is assumed this 0.3 by 2 here, that is 0.15 and 0.15. You will get 21.3 length. And coming to width is in this direction, this one. Actually it is 7.5, but here they have given 0.1 here and 0.1 here extension than the rafter. From the rafter it is extended 0.1 in this direction and 0.1 on the other direction. Only iron sheet is extended 0.15 on either side. So it comes to 7.7. 0.1 plus 7.5 and 0.1 will come to 7.7. So multiply these three, you will get this one. So third item of work is also done. Now coming to the last part, abstract estimation. Whatever there is in the question, just copy it here. And these quantities from the above table, their units carefully you write down. First one is in kgs and these two are areas. And the corresponding rates are given in the question. These two are columns will be same. Multiply these two columns to get the amount. So you will get the total. Similar way, 3% contingencies, 2% work charge establishment, and grand total will be this one. This is the complete estimation of steel truss. For any clarifications, you can call me. Thank you.